Hi there, Mr. Holcomb here with another episode of The Math Behind the Modules. This is Lesson 9, Sequencing Rotations. Keep in mind a sequence is more than one, and in this case, more than one rotation. So we're going to do multiple rotations. Exploratory challenge here says, let me move this down a little. A, rotate angle triangle, ABC, D degrees. So they didn't tell us how many degrees, just as many degrees as you wish. Clockwise, counterclockwise, it did not say negative or anything. It just said D degrees around the center D. So we are going to rotate around this point right here. Label the rotated image as A prime, B prime, C prime triangle. Okay. Okay, so I've copied the triangle ABC. I put a dot at D. I'm going to rotate this whole thing around D. So again, this app does not allow me to rotate properly, so I'm going to rotate it and then just move. So if I just rotate this a little bit, I didn't rotate about D, I rotated about somewhere over here, but if I put D back to where it was, right there, this is the beginnings of the rotation of D. So if I continue rotating but focus on that point staying where it is, I'm just going to rotate it enough so it's not on top of the original anywhere. And right there, we'll do it right about there. So let me move that dot there. And there is a rotation of D degrees. And now I'm going to label, this is C prime, this is B prime, and this is A prime. So I rotated ABC and I called it A prime, B prime, C prime. Done. Okay, now it says rotate this image, the new image, around E, this point here, and label it A prime, B prime, C prime. Okay. Okay, so now I've made a blue triangle right on top of triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. I put a dot at E. I have merged them, so I'm going to rotate this a certain number of degrees, D, but then I'm going to make sure I'm rotating around E. So now that I've done that, my shape is way up here. So let me get rid of these lines here. So my new shape is way up here because I rotated around E. And so C double prime is here. B double prime is here. And A double prime is here. And that is part B. Now C says measure and label the angles and side lengths of triangle ABC. How do they compare to A prime, B prime, C prime, and A double prime, A double prime, B double prime, C. Okay, so I will measure one of these angles, but that is all. Okay, because I already know what's happening here, and as long as I explain it, we should be good to go. Let's measure the measure of angle B first. So if I put this right on that line BC, and then rotate this around so that it's right on side AB, then I see that it is 51 degrees. Okay. So now if I just move this out of the way, I'm going to label this 51 degrees right here. All right, so now if I bring this protractor to be here and rotate it so that the line of the protractor is right on B prime, C prime, like I did before, and then I look and this line is right on there, so that is also 51 degrees. And then if I bring the protractor up to B all the way up here, rotate this so that I'm right on B prime, C prime, and you will see that it is also 51 degrees. Okay, so the angle measure never changed. Then it says to measure second. Okay, so now that I've measured this B to A, so the length of BA is I would say about 24, 25. I'd say 25 millimeters. So let's label that. So BA is 25 millimeters. And then if I bring this over and put 0 right at B, like I did on that last one, rotate it and measure, we're at 25 millimeters. And then finally bring this all the way up to right here on B, rotate it, put that right on there, and if you look, it's right at 25 as well. So this is 25 millimeters, 25 millimeters, 25 millimeters. I'm not going to do that to all three. The shape does not change, and it says, how can you explain what you observed in part C? Okay, I would say angle measures and length are preserved in rotations. Okay. Okay, so there, I cleaned that up a little bit. Angle measures and lengths are preserved in rotations. Number 2, rotate triangle ABC D degrees around D. Okay, so I've outlined my triangle, and I put a dot at a rotation. So if I rotate this any number of degrees, but make sure that it stays on D, that is a rotation about D. It's rotating the whole triangle. It's going to rotate around like so, with that being the center. So now it's up here. I'm going to label that. This is A prime, B prime, C prime. So I've done this. Rotate A, B, C, D degrees around D, and then rotate around E. Okay, so I didn't want to name those yet. We're going to rename that second, the copy of the copy, if you will. We're going to name that double prime. So now I need to put a dot, let's use green this time, on E. I'm going to make a copy of this. Okay, I copied this kind of like a mustard or gold color, and I'm going to rotate this now about E. So if I rotate that, let's say about that much, or how about let's go a little more, and then make sure this dot stayed right here. And picture this rotating around this way, rotating around this way. So now this is B was here, B is here, B prime is up here. A went from here to here to here, and therefore this is C prime. Okay, so it says, can a single rotation around the center D map triangle A prime, B prime, C prime back onto ABC? So I need to group this with D and see if I can rotate it back. Okay, so now I've copied A prime, B prime, C prime. I put a dot at D. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to try to get it over here so it's going to be looking like this. This looks about the same. And I'm going to move that now so my D point is right there. So now let's just see this again. Now I'm off. So is there a way to get that back there? And the answer is no, because look at where my rotation point is. It has to stay at D. And in order to get this shape again, I had to rotate it this far to get AB parallel to A prime, B prime, or this is now double prime. So can a single rotation around center D map A prime, B prime, C prime onto ABC? And the answer is no. Okay, so a single rotation, and the answer is no. A single rotation cannot map. So I'll just say no, but you would say a single rotation around center D will not map this onto this. C says, can a single rotation around center E map A prime, B prime, C prime onto AB? So now we want to go up and rotate it around E. So let me just undo that, and then we'll see. Actually, I can just make another copy. Okay, so now I'm going to rotate this about E to see if I can land on ABC. So I'm going to rotate it first in place, just so that my sides all are like parallel to each other, and then move my rotation point down to there. And as you can see, E is right there. I rotated this far, but we haven't moved it far enough over. Okay, so the answer to that question is also no. A single rotation around E will not map triangle A prime, B prime, C prime onto triangle ABC. It came short. Okay. D, can you find a center that would map A prime, B prime, C prime onto ABC in one rotation? If so, label it F. Okay, so here's where I'm going to explore a little bit. I know that A prime has to get to A. So I know that it's got to end up here. Okay, so there's a line from A prime to A. Now, I also know that C prime must end up where C is. So if I move this here and draw a line, I'm just showing a line here going over to C. And I also know that B prime must end up at B. So if I just explore around with this idea a little bit, you are now going to see what just happened. There is an intersection point right here where the three lines cross, and if I call that F, that may be a place where I could center my rotation. Okay, so let's see if that works. So now I'm just going to take this triangle. I'm going to explode this now, ungroup, and I'm going to group it with F instead. So if I take this triangle and group it with this dot here, and then rotate it until it looks like it's about parallel, and move F back to this crossed intersection point, then is that going to land right there? Okay, so I think what's happening here is the way I am rotating is not going to get us it's not going to get us to where we need to be, but the point F right there should rotate us around so that this is here and F stays where it is. So F should be right here, and I should be able to rotate that around so that it lands right there. Okay? But again, this program is not working properly for me to be able to show that. If I had something like Geometer Sketchpad or something like that, then definitely this would work. Okay? But if I look and measure, let's try this now. See, I'm just playing around here to see what will work and what won't work. Maybe my measurements are off or my lines. So I know that if this segment here is a certain length, then this point has to be the midpoint. It looks like it's too close to this one. So if I measure and move this dot to where it's supposed to go, and then maybe that'll work. So I'm going to line this up. So from A prime to A, it's 96 millimeters. Half of 96 is 48. So if I move my dot to 48, which would be, let me just put a point there, and we'll use that one instead. I'll use red. 48 is approximately right here. Okay, so if I move that point there, then maybe this will now work. Okay. Having trouble grabbing this. So let me just move these out of the way so I can get that. I can put them back if I have to. And I want this grouped with this. And then let's see if I rotate that around like so and put F on that red dot. Okay, so I'm getting closer, but F is somewhere around here, but it's not quite there. But you can see that if I find the right location for that point, then yes, there's definitely going to be a way to put that back there. So let's just not work with this any further. I'm just going to answer the question. And can you find a center? I would say yes, there is a center, and F is somewhere around here, but I just have not found it yet with this technology. If I had like Geometer Sketchpad, I would be able to rotate it properly, and that would show that it is. Okay, number 3. This is again going to ask us to rotate this triangle around D, and then again around E. Now it's saying counterclockwise and clockwise. And it's going to ask some questions about that. So let me copy it. Okay, this is a different rotation. It's asking us to rotate triangle ABC counterclockwise around center D 90 degrees. So I'm going to draw a line segment. Okay, so I'm off just a little bit here. Let me move my copy. Okay, about there. That's close enough for what we're going to do. And I am going to draw a line segment through D and A. Okay, so if I want to rotate 90 degrees, notice my ruler says 25 degrees. So if I rotate it 95 degrees counterclockwise, okay, it's this way. And we were at 25. 25 minus, or 95 minus 25 is 60 degrees. So I want to rotate this till it says 60. Is that right? Not quite. Right there looks perpendicular. So I'm just going to draw a line segment this way now, like so. So that's a 90-degree angle. So if it says to rotate a triangle 90 degrees counterclockwise around the center, then I want this to end up here 90 degrees, the same distance as this. So I am now going to measure from my intersection to A. And it's 50 millimeters or 5 centimeters. So I'm going to rotate that up here, okay, to here, and I'm going to put a mark at 50 or 5, which is right here. Okay, so that means I'm going to move or rotate this, but it's going to be rotated 90 degrees. So if I rotate this 90 degrees, it's going to be like that. But my point has to be right there. So there's a 90-degree rotation about D. Now it says, label it A prime, B prime, C prime. So this is now A prime, this is B prime, and this is C prime. Okay, so done. B says to rotate triangle ABC 90 degrees counterclockwise around center E. Okay, and I'm going to use these same lines since I've already drawn it. It's going to be a lot quicker if I just do this. Now it says to rotate triangle ABC around center E. So now if I draw a line from E, I can't rotate this. I'm going to have to, well, I can rotate it. So if I draw a line through E and A, rotate it a little bit more, and it looks like it's about right here, and then just moved over a smidge. Okay, so right about there. Now if I rotate this, so that it looks like it's 90 degrees, approximately right there, about E. We want to go counterclockwise, so I'll move it this way. Okay, now I'm going to make a copy. Okay, so I made a copy of ABC again. I made a line through E and a line perpendicular. That'll tell us where my 90 degrees rotation is. So A is going to rotate 90 degrees, so it has to be the same distance, which this was, I have to measure this first, which is 64 millimeters. So if I rotate this back up over here, I could also use my compass to do this, but I'm just using my ruler as a compass, kind of. So if I rotate this and move it up to here, 64 is now right there. Okay, so it's more right here. Right there. Okay, so now I'm going to rotate A 90 degrees clockwise, so I can see that with the rectangle. And now I'm going to move this up to right there. There is a 90 degree rotation. I'm going to label it A double prime, B double prime, C double prime. Okay, so I rotated triangle ABC 90 degrees counterclockwise about E, so that's going to get me there. And I've labeled it. What do you notice about the locations of A prime, B prime, C prime, and triangle A double prime, B double prime, C double prime? Okay, they're in two different locations. The order in which we rotate a figure around two different centers must matter because the triangles are not in the same location after rotating around D and then center E compared to rotating around E and D. So I'm not going to go through all that. This is extremely tedious with this program, but I just want you to realize that rotating one way around one point and then another way around a different point will not get us in the same location if we do it backwards. Okay, so I'm not going to take the time to do that, but I just wanted to show you how you could mark a paper to find where a 90 degree rotation would have you ending up. And actually this would not be here, it would be here. Okay, just after looking at that some more. So this is B prime here, and this is C prime down here. So rotating that 90 degrees would not put it over on the other side, it would put it right here. So now that is where that would go if I rotated 90 degrees about E, clockwise. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to do any more in this lesson. The rotations are just too difficult. And it would work better in a different program than this one. So this one here says triangle ABC has been rotated around two different centers and its image is A prime, B prime, C prime. Describe the sequence of rigid motions that would map A B, C onto A prime, B prime, C prime. Okay, so doing this, I am going to copy ABC and move it over here and show you the translations required to get it there, not by doing the 2 rotations that were done to get it where it is now. Okay, so I've copied ABC. We're going to use some translations to get it to A prime, B prime, C prime. The closest points that are to each other in this diagram are C and C prime. So I am going to create a vector, and I'm going to call it CC prime. So the first thing we need to do is draw a line from one point to the other, the closest corresponding points. And I'm going to draw a line from here to here. Okay, and that is going to be our vector CC prime, and we're going in this direction, this distance. Okay, so in order to do this, let me group these because it took me a minute to draw that. And I'm going to copy it. I will change the color to a, how about like peach colored, and I will move this right down here, and I'll click it, and I will group it, and then I will move this triangle the distance and direction of C to C prime, which is right there. So that is moving it along vector CC prime. That is a translation. So let's write this as we go. So step 1 is a translation of C to C prime vector. Okay, C to C prime vector. That gets this triangle here. Okay, now I'm going to, I see that now C prime is my center of interest. So now I'm going to ungroup these, just so I don't rotate that vector. And I'm going to rotate this around C. So I'm going to rotate it so that these sides are, and then I'm going to it's going to be rotated around C. And as you can see, the rotation did it. So what did we follow this up with is a counterclockwise rotation about C prime. Okay? And my image is now where my pre-image is now where my image is by doing these 2 translations. Okay. Lesson summary is here. Read it on your own. That's the end of lesson 9. Go do your problem set.